Welcome to Chasing Curiosity TV. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. A tiny, almost forgotten sandbar, barely visible at high tide, lies quietly in the vast expanse of the South China Sea. But now, this unassuming patch of sand has become the newest and most unexpected flashpoint in the South China Sea, drawing the eyes of the world. Sandy Cay, located just a short distance from Pag Asa Island, is suddenly at the center of a dangerous and rapidly escalating showdown between powerful nations. Once a quiet, overlooked feature, Sandy Cay now represents a bold and provocative new challenge from China, signaling a shift in regional dynamics. The Philippines, caught off guard, is forced to respond decisively, turning this low-tide elevation into a powerful symbol of national sovereignty and pride. The world is watching closely as the region's geopolitical climate takes a dramatic and unpredictable turn, with headlines capturing the growing tension. This is not just another isolated incident, it's a calculated move in a much larger, high-stakes strategic game that could reshape the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. By targeting a feature so close to a Philippine-held island, Beijing is not only testing Manila's resolve, but also sending a message to the international community. The Philippine government, under President Marcos Jr., has drawn a clear and unmistakable line in the sand, vowing to defend its territory at all costs. The nation is now mobilizing both diplomatic and military resources, rallying its people and allies to face this unprecedented challenge head-on. What happens at Sandy Cay will have implications far beyond the Spratly Islands, potentially affecting the entire region's security and future. The United States, Japan, Australia, and other concerned nations have voiced their alarm, recognizing that the stability of the entire Indo-Pacific is now at stake. The risk of miscalculation is dangerously high. A single mistake or misunderstanding could trigger a much wider and more devastating conflict. For the Philippines, this is about far more than a dispute over a sandbar. It's a fight for its future, its sovereignty, and its place in the world. The stakes have never been higher, and the Philippines is making it clear to the world it stands ready to face China's new challenge, whatever the cost may be. For decades, Sandy Cay was little more than a footnote on nautical charts, a mere speck in the vast expanse of the South China Sea. It was largely ignored, its significance overlooked by many. It's a series of sandbars just off Pag Asa Island, nestled within the Philippines' territorial waters, a quiet and unassuming part of the ocean. Filipino fishermen once used its calm waters as a resting spot, a sanctuary from the open sea, until China's expansive claims changed everything, altering the landscape and the lives of those who depended on it. Chinese maritime militia, disguised as fishing boats, began to swarm the area, blockading Filipino access and asserting dominance over these waters. This is China's salami-slicing strategy, small, calculated steps to change the status quo without open conflict, a methodical approach to territorial expansion. By controlling Sandy Cay, China can challenge the Philippines' hold over Pag Asa Island itself, potentially altering the balance of power in the region. If China builds a permanent structure here, it would create a new military outpost on the Philippines' doorstep, a strategic foothold in contested waters. The transformation of Sandy Cay is a stark reminder of shifting dynamics in the South China Sea, a testament to the rapid changes occurring in this volatile region. Filipino fishermen are now excluded, their livelihoods threatened, their traditional fishing grounds lost to geopolitical maneuvering. Sandy Cay is no longer forgotten. It's a symbol of Chinese expansionism and a test of Philippine resolve, a flashpoint in the ongoing struggle for control. The battle for Sandy Cay is a battle for the future of the Spratly Islands, a microcosm of the larger geopolitical tensions playing out in the South China Sea. Tensions at Sandy Cay boiled over in April 2025. Filipino activists and fishermen sailed to the sandbar, planting a Philippine flag, a direct challenge to China. The act was peaceful, but the message was clear: this territory would not be abandoned. China's response was swift. Coast Guard vessels and maritime militia surrounded the sandbar, demanding the flag's removal. Filipino activists stood their ground, singing the national anthem in a tense standoff. This marked a shift from open sea encounters to a direct clash over land. The flag raising transformed Sandy Cay into an active front line. The incident, broadcast globally, drew international attention and forced Manila to react. The Philippine Coast Guard was dispatched, leading to a multi-day standoff. Sandy Cay was no longer just about a flag, it was a direct test of sovereignty with explosive consequences. After the flag raising, China escalated its tactics at Sandy Cay. China Coast Guard vessels used high-pressure water cannons against Philippine ships, aiming to damage equipment and injure crews. These were not warnings, they were direct assaults, often accompanied by dangerous ramming incidents. The Philippines documented every incident, releasing evidence to the world. The international community responded with condemnation. The US, Japan, Australia, and the EU all called out China's actions. Beijing dismissed the accusations, but Manila's evidence made denial difficult. The escalation at Sandy Cay isolated China and strengthened Philippine resolve. The showdown was no longer bilateral, it had become a global concern. Sandy Cay was now a symbol of resistance and international solidarity. The conflict over Sandy Cay is a critical piece of the South China Sea chessboard. This waterway is vital. Over a third of global shipping passes through, connecting the Indian and Pacific Oceans. The region is rich in oil, gas, and fishing grounds, fueling competition among claimant states. China's 9-dash line overlaps with the exclusive economic zones of the Philippines and others, creating a web of disputes. For China, control here is about securing energy, expanding military reach, and challenging US dominance. Artificial islands have become forward operating bases, projecting power deep into Southeast Asia. Sandy Cay is another stepping stone in Beijing's grand strategy. For the Philippines, defending its maritime territory is about survival, not just pride. The showdown at Sandy Cay is a microcosm of the larger struggle rules-based order versus might makes right. The outcome will shape the region's future. The Philippines stands with international law on its side. The 2016 Hague arbitration ruling invalidated China's 9-dash line and clarified that low-tide elevations like Sandy Cay cannot be claimed as sovereign territory. Sandy Cay, near Pag-asa Island, is legally part of the Philippines' territorial sea. China rejected the ruling, refusing to participate and declaring it void. By ignoring the decision, Beijing undermines its claims and global credibility. For the Philippines, the ruling is a diplomatic and moral shield, framing the dispute as a defense of international law. President Marcos Jr. has made the award central to foreign policy, rallying support and exposing China's illegality. The battle for Sandy Cay is a battle to uphold this legal victory. Sandy Cay is a textbook case of China's gray zone strategy. Conflict below the threshold of war. Instead of open attacks, China uses coercive tactics. Coast Guard and maritime militia harass, blockade, and intimidate. The maritime militia, disguised as fishing boats, swarms disputed areas and blocks access. Water cannons, dangerous maneuvers, and lasers are used to exhaust and intimidate Filipino crews. The goal make asserting sovereign rights too costly, pushing the Philippines out of its own waters. Cabbage wrapping, surrounding features with layers of ships, creates de facto blockades. A conventional military response risks escalation. Matching gray zone tactics is difficult given China's scale. The Philippines counters by exposing and publicizing China's actions, stripping away plausible deniability. This transparency mobilizes international opinion and creates diplomatic pressure. Sandy Cay is where gray zone warfare meets global scrutiny. Under President Marcos Jr., the Philippines has adopted a more assertive strategy. The approach rests on three pillars: assertive transparency, stronger alliances, and military modernization. First, the Philippines documents and publicizes China's coercion, embedding journalists on patrols and releasing evidence globally. This shaming strategy has shaped the narrative and rallied international support. Second, Manila has revitalized alliances, expanding U.S. access to bases and forging new ties with Japan, Australia, and others. Joint exercises and intelligence sharing have enhanced maritime defense. Third, the armed forces are modernizing, acquiring new jets, patrol vessels, and missile systems. The goal isn't to match China's might, but to build a credible deterrent. Sandy Cay is the test case for this new posture. The Philippines aims to make any act of aggression costly and risky for China. The unfolding drama at Sandy Cay encapsulates the immense stakes and high tensions simmering in the South China Sea, a region that has become a flashpoint for global attention. For the Philippines, this is far more than a territorial dispute. It's a battle for sovereignty, national identity, and the right to determine their own future. Ceding Sandy Cay would set a dangerous precedent, emboldening China to push its territorial claims even further, potentially threatening other nations in the region. These waters are not just lines on a map, they are vital fishing grounds. China's blockade threatens the daily livelihoods of thousands, deepening poverty and uncertainty for entire communities. This conflict is not just about geopolitics, it's about economic justice, food security, and the very survival of coastal families who depend on the sea. The risk of miscalculation is real and ever present. With US-Philippine defense treaties in place, even a single incident could escalate rapidly, drawing in major powers and triggering a wider conflict. The stability of the entire Indo-Pacific region hangs in the balance, as these waters are crucial for global trade and economic prosperity. Sandy Cay has become a test case for the international rules-based order, challenging whether established laws can withstand the forceful redrawing of borders. The Philippine strategy of transparency and building alliances seeks to rally the world in defense of that order, emphasizing diplomacy and cooperation. The outcome of this standoff will send a powerful message about the future of global governance, international law, and the ability of smaller nations to stand up to larger powers. The Philippines, together with its allies, is determined to meet this challenge head-on, defending not just territory, but the principles that underpin peace and stability in the region.